All right, so I checked to make sure it was recording. It was recording. Then right after that, it stopped. I don't know if I clicked on something. This is just anyway. So this is part two. The last thing I left off was how to use the UC Libraries database. So you can Google UC Library or the website. I think it looks like it's libraries.uc.edu. Either way, you should get the screen. There's a lot of red on the screen, and it says you have in the middle of the screen you have four options: articles, books, journals, or databases. I go to databases and then click on academic search complete. And if you're not hooked up or if you're not on UC's Wi-Fi, you'll need to log in using your 6+2 and your password. It's the same credentials you use when you log into your email or Canvas or any kind of UC computer. So just log into that. It'll take you right to Academic Search Complete. It's an EBSCO host, and I'm not going to give you a tutorial how to use this right now if you're not familiar with it. I will post some information later. It's relatively easy to use as far as searching for things. Some of the fine-tuning things can be a little more complicated. But the good thing about this is it's easy to use, it's quick, it gives you lots of results, and more often than not, you don't have to worry about whether or not this is a reliable source, or not. This is not a source. This is a database, but you don't have to worry as much about whether or not the sources you find are reliable. It's not a guarantee, of course. You still need to check it, make sure that they are, but you have a better chance than if you just go to Google and search for things. I'm not saying you can't use Google, but just be wary. Google turns up all kinds of search results. Make sure that they are credible and accurate. Excuse me. So, in addition to this, you can use. Again, I mean, if you find all your sources through the database, that's fine. You can use as many of those as you want, but you can use other sources as well. Whether it be interviews, podcasts, so on and so forth. Let's see. You need to have at least 6 sources, so 6 minimum for the whole essay. I say only 2 can be internet sources. So let me clarify a little bit what I mean regarding an internet source. Just because you find it on the computer doesn't mean it's an internet source. An internet source is a source that is only found online. You can't find it anywhere else. So if you find an article from the New York Times, there is a hard copy of the New York Times somewhere else. So this is not only it is not only an internet source. An internet source would be like a website or like a blog or something. Again, you can use those, but only 2 of those count toward your minimum of 6. So if you find a journal article, like an article from the Journal of Medicine or something, even though you find it on the computer, that is not technically an internet source. You can use as many of those as you want. And also, you can technically use more than 2 internet sources, but only 2 of those count towards your 6. So if you find 4 internet sources, you still need 4 more other sources to get to your 6 of minimum of 6. Let's see. So I skipped over a part real fast. The bullet point before that says, conclude your essay by showing how you have developed the ideas about, it says Generation Y, I meant Z, but of course you can write about either one. Shows how you developed your ideas about this generation and made a contribution to current thinking about your generation. So don't just simply identify the problem and then say, oh, well. Identify an issue or a problem and talk briefly about how you'd like to see this solved. Now, obviously, if you're writing about global warming, there's no simple solution. Otherwise, we would all, well, maybe it is a little more simple than I think that we are making it. But if there was an easy solution, obviously the solution would already be put into action, right? So I don't expect you to have solve world peace or something like that, but think critically here. What is an idea? What is a way that we could fix or improve the situation? Just think about something along those lines. And then pages 41 to 54 in your student guide talk a little bit more about this. So again, it's a pretty cut and dry type assignment. Like I said, you're free to choose a topic that you want to write about. Just run it by me if it is not a Generation Z topic. Like I said, I'm pretty flexible with that. Just make sure that you get clearance from me. The first draft is due on the 18th. So why don't we say by October the 11th? Make sure you have your topic run by me if you are not writing about Gen Z. So that's a week before the first draft is due. I want to give you enough time to put that draft together. Don't email me the night before it's due. Say, hey, can I write about this? And then try to turn out a draft before midnight. So just like your text and action assignment, the first draft is only worth 10 points as long as you do it and you do it on time. And let's say, give me at least 3 pages for the first draft, because I didn't mention this. This essay is 6 to 8 pages. So it's a little bit longer than your text and action assignment, but you also have more time to work on this. So as long as your first draft is submitted on time and it's at least 3 pages long, you will get all 10 points. Just like last time, I'm not grading you on the quality of this. I mean, still try to put together a good, solid draft. But if you have a lot of mistakes or issues, I'm not going to take off for that. I will let you know in the comments and then let you know what needs to be revised. So first draft is due by the 18th of this month. Your topic needs to be approved by the 11th. So again, unless you write about Generation Z, that's fine. If you still want to run it by me, you can. Just look, if you want my thoughts on your topic, whether or not I think that's enough to write about that, that's perfectly fine as well. Let's see. I think as far as the research paper assignment, I think that's the majority of what I want to talk about with you. Obviously, if anything else comes up, please feel free to ask me. As usual, I have my office time on Mondays and Wednesdays from 1 to 2 o'clock through WebEx. You can request another time. I met with somebody over the weekend on that. So just let me know when's available for you. Most of the time I will be available, but just let me know in advance so that I can try to be there. Real fast, I want to touch on the second part of this assignment, which is the annotated bibliography. You may have done one of these before. They're relatively simple. It's just basically I'm having you do this because it's important to be able to look through sources as well. But by doing this, I'm allowing you to have the research paper a little bit shorter. Otherwise, it's 6 to 8 pages now. If you didn't do the bibliography, your essay would have to be a little bit longer. So this should be an easy A as long as you do the bibliography. You'll see this is on page 9 of your syllabus. It's due the same day the final draft of the research paper is due, which is November 1st. You are not required to do a first draft of the bibliography. You are, however, welcome to run it by me if you want me to look at it. There's no submission on Canvas for it. There's no points associated with the first draft of this. But if you want to email me a draft of the bibliography to make sure you're on the right track, I will be happy to do that. The deadline for that is the deadline for the first draft as well of the research paper, October the 18th. Like I said, you're not required to, but I'm happy to look at it to let you know if you're doing it correctly. I'll just read through this real fast. One thing to keep in mind, the annotated bibliography is a separate document from your research paper. That's very important. I've had people, even after I've explained this, I've had students attach their bibliography in place of their works cited page. No, this is a separate assignment. I mean, it's assignment 2B. You need to have a works cited page at the end of your research paper, and then there will be a separate assignment place for this. I think now that I'm doing everything online, it'll be easier. Instead of turning in a hard copy, you'll see that there's 2 separate assignment places, hopefully. But anyway, so of your research paper grade, this is worth 20%. So the research assignment is the research paper and the annotated bibliography. The research paper makes up 80% of your research grade, and the bibliography makes up 20% of that. And basically, if you've not done one of these before, all that you're doing is you take your works cited page, so all your sources, and then just type out a paragraph summarizing, and you can analyze it a little bit as well. So you have your citation, write a summary of important information. What is the source? Why did you choose this source? How was it helpful in your essay? How are you using it in your essay? Tell me a little bit about it, summarize it, things like that. You don't have to break down the whole, ethos, pathos, logos in there. You can if you want to. You can add quotations from the source if you want. Now, you can say, I'm going to use this quote because it's helpful in this way. It's up to you how you want to do that. Pages 185, 186, and from inquiry, talk a little bit about this. I think I'm having you read that this week. Your bibliography should be roughly 2 to 3 pages. It can be a little bit longer. I don't have a specific set, like word count or page and limit or minimum for this, but look at it this way. I think you should have roughly 2 citations / annotations per page. So if you have 6 sources, you have 2 per page. It should be about 3 pages. If you're able to fit 4 onto one page, your annotation's probably not going to be long enough. One more final thing I want to say about this, because I don't want to discourage you from using more than 6 sources. You only have to include 6 sources on the annotated bibliography. Excuse me. So if you're using 8 sources in your research paper, make sure all 8 sources are on your works cited page. But for the annotated bibliography, you only have to annotate 6 of those sources. I just don't want you to be, oh, I have 8 sources, but I'm only going to use 6 because I don't have to do extra work on the bibliography. No. Use as many sources as you want. I mean, don't use like 20 because that's you get out of hand. You can use more than 6 sources, but don't use a ton. But you only have to annotate 6 of those for the annotated bibliography. MLA format, double spaced, all that good stuff as well. So anyway, I think that should be enough to get you started. The key dates, October the 11th, to make sure you run your topic by me if you're not writing about Gen Z. October the 18th is the first draft of the research paper, and also if you want to submit the bibliography. And then, unless anything changes, the final draft of both will be due November the 11th, so exactly a month from today. If you have any questions, email me, meet with me on WebEx. I'll be posting updates as we go through this as well. Otherwise, hope your week has gone well. Have a good weekend, and I will talk to you all soon. All right, bye.